All right, so you guys send in some pretty interesting stuff about practicing spoken English when you maybe don't have like a regular speaking partner.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's exactly what we're going to dive into
Oh,
today.
boy.
Our mission to really figure out the best, maybe even some unexpected ways you can improve your speaking skills all on your own. And we're going to be focusing especially on this YouTube transcript you sent. It's really packed with good stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the first things that jumped out from your sources is how much we all seem to believe that we absolutely need a speaking partner to get better.
Right.
It's like we see it as a must-have, a non-negotiable part of the whole process.
It does feel like a given, right? Like you just can't become fluent without someone else to talk to.
Right.
But your sources make a really good point. It's kind of like a limited perspective when you think about it. The people who are amazing communicators, actors, nailing their lines, public speakers who just own the stage, news anchors, those folks, they all spend so much time practicing by themselves.
Yeah, that's so true. When you look at the bigger picture, that kind of focused individual practice is really how you master anything difficult.
Right.
So this deep dive is all about questioning some of those assumptions you might have about learning to speak English on your own. And we're going to give you some seriously powerful, practical techniques you can use starting today.
I like it. Okay, so let's tackle some of those deeply ingrained beliefs.
Okay.
And I think we got to start with the big one.
Yeah.
The idea that talking to yourself in English is just pointless. Like, if no one's listening, what's the use?
That's a really interesting point. It makes you think, what's the real goal of practicing spoken English?
Yeah.
It's not just about talking to other people. It's also about solidifying your understanding and making English flow easily so you don't have to translate every word in your head. It becomes like second nature, like, tying your shoes. Speaking out loud, even if it's just to yourself, helps your brain make those connections.
That makes a lot of sense. And, that transcript you shared, it had this great analogy. It compares it to athletes practicing drills on their own to become top performers.
Yeah.
It's about building that muscle memory for language, isn't it?
Exactly. Solo practice lets you really focus on what you're saying without the pressure of someone immediately responding. It helps you build confidence, try different ways of pronouncing things, and just makes you more fluent overall. It's like a rehearsal for real conversations.
I love that. Okay, so then there's this other worry a lot of people have, that you absolutely have to have a native English speaker to help you improve.
Right. What's interesting here is how we define improve. Talking with native speakers definitely gives you feedback and exposes you to the subtleties of the language.
Sure.
But it's not the only path to fluency. Your source material actually points out that many people become very fluent without always talking to native speakers.
And honestly, the internet has totally changed the game. Oh, there are so many resources out there, videos, podcasts, even AI tools that we'll talk about later. It means you can surround yourself with real English and constantly work on your listening skills.
If we look at the big picture of language learning,
Huh?
it's about being exposed to the language and engaging with it actively.
Yeah.
And you can get that from different places, not just live conversations. Plus, even native speakers don't always use perfect grammar. The main thing is to focus on continuous, step-by-step improvement.
Right. So we've talked about those two big beliefs. Speaking alone is pointless, and you can only improve with a native speaker. Now for the third one, and this one always makes me laugh a little, the fear that talking to yourself is just weird.
I know, right? It really shows how much anxiety we can have about learning a new language.
For sure.
People might feel awkward or even silly having full-blown conversations in an empty room.
Like you're losing it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the transcript makes a good point. A lot of language learners do this, and even professionals who speak in public practice their speeches and presentations alone all the time.
So
What's cool is what happens in your head when you talk to yourself in English. You're practicing the flow of conversation, thinking things through, getting comfortable with the sounds and rhythm of the language. And you're doing it in a totally safe, no-pressure zone.
I love that. So the message here is embrace the weirdness. Don't be afraid to have those English conversations with yourself. It's actually a super effective way to practice.
Definitely. Now that we've addressed those common worries, let's get into the real nitty-gritty, the strategies you can use to practice speaking English when you're by yourself. And the first one that your source emphasizes is thinking in English.
Yeah, this one sounds so simple, but it can be a huge shift. The idea is to slowly move away from constantly translating in your head and start processing your thoughts directly in English.
Right. The transcript explains that translating adds an extra step for your brain, which can really slow you down when you're trying to speak fluently. Thinking directly in English cuts out the middleman, so your speech becomes faster and more natural.
So how can people actually start doing this? It might seem a bit abstract at first.
Yeah, it can.
The transcript gives some really good examples. One is just describing what's going on around you in English. Like if you're making coffee in the morning, just narrate the process to yourself.
That's a great starting point
Hmm.
because it connects your daily actions to English words and sentences. It's like you're creating your own internal English commentary on your life.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. The examples they give are super simple. The kettle is boiling, I'm adding milk. You can do this anywhere walking down the street describing the weather or the color of a car, like the transcript suggests.
If we think about the bigger picture, it's about creating an English speaking habit in your mind.
Interesting.
And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Planning your day in English is another good tip from your source. Thinking, at lunchtime, I'll go for a walk, for example. It's like having an internal dialogue in English.
I love that idea of an internal dialogue. But what if someone finds it hard to think in full English sentences right away?
The transcript has a tip for that. Start with just keywords. Instead of a whole sentence, just think coffee, hot, morning, delicious. And over time, your brain will naturally start connecting those words and forming complete thoughts.
Oh, that's smart. And what about that idea of using pictures to trigger English words directly, like seeing an apple and immediately thinking apple instead of the word in your native language?
That's another good one. It's about forming a direct link. And the suggestion to set a daily goal, like 5 minutes of thinking in English and then gradually doing more, makes it seem much more doable.
Okay, so that's thinking in English. Now let's talk about another technique from the transcript. And this one seems really cool. Shadowing.
Shadowing is an incredibly powerful technique for improving your pronunciation rhythm and overall fluency. It's basically listening to a native English speaker and repeating what they say, almost like your voice is echoing theirs.
I like that.
And the transcript stresses that you don't stop to think or translate. You're trying to copy the speaker as closely as possible, even their intonation, how they express emotions. Like actors, rehearsing lines, shadowing helps you internalize the natural flow of English.
That's fascinating. It makes you think about musicality of language, almost like learning a song by listening and singing along.
Exactly. And this simultaneous listening and speaking actually engages different parts of your brain. It helps you internalize the natural flow of English.
So how do you actually do it? What are the first steps?
The most important step, as your source says, is choosing the right audio. You want something clear and natural like a podcast or a YouTube video or even a scene from a movie. It's best to start with short clips, maybe 10 to 20 seconds, so you don't get overwhelmed.
So you listen to the short clip carefully and then immediately repeat it, trying to stay right with the speaker.
Exactly. In the beginning, the focus isn't on understanding every word, but more on copying the sounds, the speed, and the tone. And the transcript has a great tip. Practice with subtitles first, then try it without them. This can help you connect the sounds to the written words.
So why is shadowing so effective? What's going on in your brain when you do this?
The cool thing is that it forces you to use English naturally, almost without thinking. You're not consciously using grammar rules or remembering vocabulary. You're training your brain to think and speak with the rhythm and intonation of a native speaker. And it dramatically improves your pronunciation because you're mimicking real speech patterns. You start noticing how words connect and how some sounds are softer in natural speech.
I see. Are there any common mistakes people make when they first try shadowing?
Yes, there are a few. One is choosing audio that's too fast or too complex for their level. The transcript recommends starting with slower speech and gradually increasing the speed. Another mistake is trying to be perfect right away. It's okay if you don't get every word or nuance at first. Consistent practice is key. And the transcript also emphasizes the importance of speaking out loud, not just mouthing the words or whispering. You need to physically make the sounds to train your mouth.
Those are great tips. So if you're listening, give shadowing a try. Find a short, clear audio clip and try to repeat it as closely as you can. And don't worry about being perfect. It's all about getting a feel for the language.
Exactly.
So we've covered thinking in English and shadowing. What's the next technique?
The next one is all about using your voice speaking out loud. The transcript makes a crucial point that even if you're studying grammar and vocabulary in your head, you need to physically say the words to train your speaking muscles.
Like learning a musical instrument, you can understand the theory, but you have to practice making the sounds.
That's exactly. The transcript suggests 3 easy ways to practice speaking out loud. And the first one is just describing things around you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really accessible way to start.
Yeah.
Take a look around and describe what you see in English. The transcript uses the example of being in a room and describing a desk, a laptop, and a phone.
And the beauty is you can do it anywhere, anytime on your commute, in a cafe while you're cooking.
Exactly.
It forces you to use your vocabulary and build sentences in real time, even if you're just talking to yourself.
Right. The more you practice describing your surroundings, the more natural it becomes to think and speak in English about everyday things. And the second way to practice speaking out loud is telling stories.
That's a great idea. It helps you practice speaking in full sentences and developing a natural flow. The transcript mentions talking about your day, a memory you have, or even making up a story. And the great thing about practicing alone is there's no pressure.
Right.
You can take your time, mess up words, and improve at your own pace.
Storytelling also helps you practice using different verb tenses and connecting your ideas. The transcript suggests simple starting phrases like, yesterday I went to, or one time I saw, to help you get started.
Okay, and what about role-playing? That sounds like it could be fun.
It can be. The idea is to pretend you're in different situations, like ordering food at a restaurant, introducing yourself to someone, or asking for directions. And the transcript encourages you to really picture the scene and practice what you would say out loud.
And they even suggest making it more interesting by changing your voice or pretending to be different people in the conversation. That sounds fun.
It does. It helps you get comfortable with different tones and ways of speaking. So the key takeaway here is use your voice. Describe things, tell stories, act out different scenarios. All of these will make you more confident and fluent.
Okay, so we've talked about some really practical things. Now, the transcript brings up using technology, AI, and language learning apps.
Yeah, this has been a game changer for language learners.
Absolutely.
Because with AI-powered tools, you can get instant feedback and practice conversational English without needing another person.
The transcript mentions some specific apps, ChatGPT, Elsa, Speak English with AI. What are the main advantages of using these tools to practice speaking?
What's really cool is that they can simulate real conversations. They can help with your pronunciation by giving feedback on your spoken words, help you structure your sentences better, and improve your fluency by giving you chances to talk about different things. Some apps even give personalized feedback and suggest better ways to say things.
It's like having a virtual tutor available whenever you need it.
Exactly.
So what are some tips for using these apps effectively?
The transcript recommends setting a daily goal, maybe starting with 10 minutes. It's also important to actually speak into the app, not just type your answers.
Right.
The more you speak, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. And trying different conversation topics is a great way to learn new words and practice expressing yourself in different situations.
It sounds like these AI tools can be really helpful alongside the other methods we've talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, the last technique from the transcript is self-recording and feedback. This one might feel a little scary for some people.
Yeah, I can see that hearing your own recorded voice can be weird at first, but it's a really great way to pinpoint where you can improve your pronunciation and fluency.
Right. We don't always realize how we sound until we hear ourselves.
Exactly.
So what's the best way to do this?
It's pretty simple. First, pick a topic. The transcript suggests describing your day, talking about your favorite movie, or even reading out loud from a book or article. Then use your phone or a recording app to record yourself speaking naturally, as if you were having a real conversation.
And then comes the maybe awkward part, listening back to yourself critically. What should people be listening for?
The transcript recommends asking yourself a few questions. Was my speech clear? Did I hesitate a lot? Were there any words I mispronounced? And one really helpful tip is to compare your recording to a native speaker saying something similar. Listen to how they pronounce words and try to match them in your next recording.
That's really practical. So even though it might feel strange, self-recording is a really useful way to track your progress and build confidence.
Totally. Because it gives you objective feedback you wouldn't get otherwise.
We've covered a lot of ground today. Just to recap, we talked about thinking in English, shadowing native speakers, speaking out loud by describing things, telling stories, and role-playing, using AI and language learning apps, and self-recording with feedback.
And we started by debunking those common myths that you need a speaking partner or that practicing alone is useless. The truth is, solo practice isn't just possible. It's a really powerful way to achieve fluency.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, what's your biggest piece of advice for someone who might still feel hesitant or nervous about practicing speaking English alone?
That's a great question. I would say don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's a totally normal part of learning. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. Remember, when you're practicing on your own, there's no one judging you. It's your safe space to experiment and learn.
That's so important. It's a process. And every small effort you make, even just 5 minutes of thinking in English, a short shadowing exercise, or a quick recording, all adds up.
Exactly. And most importantly, try to enjoy it. Learning a language should be fun and rewarding. Speak confidently even if you don't feel totally confident yet. And believe in your ability to improve.
That's a perfect way to end. To everyone listening, take these techniques, start practicing today, speak out loud, and don't give up. You can absolutely do this. And as a final thought, now that you have all these techniques, how might adding just one of them to your daily routine change your speaking confidence in the next week? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been fun.
See ya.
Bye.